Hi, John O'Frowner here with another video tutorial. This time we're going to take a look at Mercalli version 2. A lot of folks have been saying, hey JR, have you seen version 2 yet? And I thought I would take you guys through a demo of what version 2 could do, because I downloaded a copy and immediately upgraded my version 1 because I was really impressed with what the guys at ProDAD have done. So let's take a look at what we've got to work with here. I've got some really shaky camera footage. This is handy cam on an afternoon taking football shots, all the way zoomed in, shaky as can be, without a tripod, as you would expect. And let's just take a look at it and see what we have to work with. As you can see, very shaky, zoomed all the way in. And it's a difficult shot because it pans as well, right? So it's not just a static shot, but you can see how shaky that is. We're going to start by loading that into Mercalli. This is Mercalli version 2. This is the standalone version. I'm also going to show you the Vegas version. I'm just going to click on drop video here because it's easier than dragging and dropping video. And we'll take this shot, open it up, and immediately you can see it's interlaced footage, and we're going to press here to start the video analysis. It's going to use this universal camera, which is a good starting point for most analysis. So we're going to start analysis. It's going to go off and take a look at this footage, and you can just see as it plays it back here how just shaky it is. Right, it's just bumping around, bobbing and weaving. Doesn't take very long to analyze, and then when we're done, it'll play back the video. We'll see how smooth Mercalli 2 has made it. Almost done. Here we go. Now we'll hit the play button, and there you go. Look at how smooth that is. Nice and steady. Follows the action, pans over. The jerky back and forth movement is gone. I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to show you. We've got this split view here where we can see a left-right view. So we'll go back and watch this thing. You can see how much it's jumping up and down on the left here. The other impressive thing is that Mercalli didn't have to pan in too much to fix this video. Now you'll notice, let me get back to full screen here, you'll notice this red blinking, and what it's telling us is that in this analysis it's done down here on the timeline, that at some point it made a trade-off between avoiding having large borders and stabilizing the footage. So it stabilized the footage a little bit less so it could bring the borders out. And if you notice, let's get over one that's red. As this is blinking here, the avoid borders option is blinking up here to tell you that's what you need to correct. And so what we're going to do is allow it just a little bit more of a border, and watch what's happening down here. You'll see these start to disappear. And I'm not going to make them all disappear. I'm just going to do kind of a trade-off here. There's still one of them left, but you'll notice it zoomed in very slightly. When I'm going to play it again, it's still pretty good footage. We've got just one area where it's compensating, and you really can't tell. So Mercalli's done a really great job there. Now, if you were to try to do this, with a point tracker, in another application, I mean, you can see how as you go along the timeline here and you start to pan, what point would you pick to track, right? There's lots of people on the screen there. If you started, if we go back here, if you started with this fence post, you can see that it goes off frame. So, having an optical stabilizer like Mercalli is really a big benefit. So switching over to Vegas now, I've got the same clip on 3 tracks. I've labeled them the original, and then version 1 and version 2 so we could see the difference. And I've already put the effects on, but I haven't processed them. So with Mercalli version 1, I'm gonna pick Handycam Smooth Watched Action Scenery. I think that's probably going to do the best job for this piece of footage. We'll select the event and process it. And Mercalli will go off and process this footage. As you can see, there's a lot of motion in it, but it's done the process, and we'll take a look at what it's done. So here's the original again, very shaky. We'll go back and mute that, and here is what version 1 can do. Again, smooth, as you would expect, follows the action. Pretty good. Not as good as version 2 then. Watch this. So now we're going to go off and do version 2. So we'll click on that, and I want to show you this. We used universal camera before, but my favorite is this glide cam. Glide cam does a really nice job at smoothing out the pans and stuff. And so we'll select glide cam, and then we'll come back We've got a void border on, pretty much the same as we had before. And we're going to make sure we have it selected, and we're do analysis. And it will do an analysis. A little bit different readout here. You don't get the sensitivity indicators and the motion indicators, but it still shows you what frame of the footage that it's processing. And so that'll be done in a second, and then we'll take a look at how version 2 did. Okay, that's done. Now we'll go to the beginning and watch the version 2 footage. Nice and smooth, right? And it follows the action. Nice pan. But here's something to note. Here's the original. Okay, I'm going to mute the second track with version 1. Here's the original, and there's version 2. That's how far in version 2 had to pan. But here's version 1. That's how far in version 1 had to pan. So the original version 1 had a zoom. Sorry, zoom, not pan. Version 1 had a zoom pretty far in to avoid those borders, whereas version 2 did not. It kept more of the borders. Now remember, we had the trade-off here with the allow borders. We had the red on the standalone version. You can turn that on here in the plug-in version. Let me just pull this out so you can see the whole interface here. If you buy the Pro version, the Expert version, you get some more parameters to tweak. I usually use it in just the regular mode because it does a pretty good job most of the time. So we can come here and say signalize frames where higher stabilization could be possible using avoid borders. And now as I scrub the timeline, there you can see the red, just like we did in the standalone version, right? And so if I wanted to back that red off, I can get to a red keyframe there, and then say make it more steady. And you notice it's zooming in to do that. Make it more steady. I just want to get it just past the red. I don't want to zoom any further than I have to. There you go. And so that will make it all the more. Here again. That one's pretty shaky in the beginning, so I'm going to leave it. And then we can watch it and see how many times those red frames pop up. They were pretty good there. No red frames. There's one there. Right, so you know, in my estimation, this is a must-have plugin. The upgrade from version 1 to version 2 is well worth it. Just look at you know, how much smoother it makes it and how much less it has to zoom in and more of the original frame that it keeps. This one got my money, and I think it's definitely something that you ought to look into if you're a Mercalli user and you're thinking of upgrading. You know, I give it a thumbs up on this one. Do the upgrade. Go for it. This is John Rafrano. Until next time, thanks for watching.